This is the L2C Media Network on YouTube, and this is Steve Baxley Sports Final, brought to you by the L2C Media Network. And on a night when the Dodgers beat up on some tired Rays, here's Steve. All right, thanks. How you doing, everybody? Good evening, welcome, bienvenue, and all that jazz. How you all doing? It's okay. You can lamp it just a little. We are going to get a light probably on Monday right behind our webcam, so I can be lit properly. Anyway, welcome everybody. Welcome one and all to our little exciting little house on the prairie here, the Fred McLeod Sports Desk. Steve the Baxman Baxley with you. And without further ado, because it is almost midnight, and I know everybody wants to get out of here. Let's get to the sports, including what is going to be somewhat of a very unusual Thursday night edition of the Monday Night QB. So, without further ado, before we give you the scores and everything else, let's go through the headlines, and most of them NFL related. Let's get to the first story. And what happened to the Cowboys last night? Well, if you believe reports, everything. Is there truly discontent in Jerryland? Well, at 2-4, the Dallas Cowboys sit in first place in the NFC East heading into this Sunday's road game against Washington. And while they would be in the team's 38-10 embarrassment to the visiting Cardinals on Monday Night Football, in a game where the Cowboys really never had a chance after keeping any issues internal during the season's first 6 games. At least 2 of the Cowboy players have decided to break ranks, telling Jane Slater of NFL Network that the team's coaching staff is, quote, totally unprepared. Quote, they don't teach. They don't have any sense of adjusting on the fly, the unnamed player told Slater. Another Cowboy player, anonymous, added, quote, they just aren't good at their jobs. It's safe to say that Mike McCarthy's first season in Dallas has not gotten off to the start that he or team owner Jerry Jones would have liked. While the Cowboys' offense is dealing with the loss of quarterback Dak Prescott, Dallas's defense is allowing the 5th most points in league history after 6 games. Cowboys' defense is also tied with Vegas and Green Bay for the fewest forced takeaways in football. And while their defense isn't forcing enough turnovers, the Cowboys' offense has had no issues giving the ball to opposing defenses. Andy Dalton, who replaced Prescott in the starting lineup as the hunky QB, threw 2 interceptions on Monday night. Ezekiel Elliott also coughed off the ball twice, as the Cowboys saw their league worst turnover ratio swell to -12. Ew. There is also perception that some Cowboy players are no longer giving their best effort on a consistent basis, something that was on display on numerous occasions during a national, and we're just going to say it, international Monday Night Football game loss. Embarrassing, to say the least. Now, coaching aside, the Cowboys have been hit with a string of bad luck along with Prescott's injury. The Cowboys have suffered numerous injuries to their offensive line that includes losing 7-time Pro Bowl left tackle Tyron Smith to a neck injury. Former first-round pick Leighton Vander Esch missed 4 games after breaking his collarbone in the season opener, while fellow linebacker Sean Lee is on injured reserve currently with a sports hernia. What the heck is a sports hernia? Anyway, Cowboys have also not found an adequate replacement for cornerback Byron Jones, who signed a huge long-term deal with the Dolphins during the offseason. The team replaced him with rookie Trevon Diggs, who is still in search of DNA. who have combined to record just 3 tackles thus far. Now, while the Cowboys' defense have yet to make, or the rookies on the defense have yet to make a big impact, CeeDee Lamb, the team's first pick in the draft, has helped Dallas's offense become one of the league's highest scoring units. The success of Lamb, Amari Cooper, and Elliott have been among the brightest spots in an otherwise gloomy start for the Cowboys. Dalton and Elliott, to their credit, took ownership of their miscues Monday night, but if the Cowboys are going to get things straightened out, it appears that they'll have to get their internal strife straightened out sooner rather than later, or that party bus ain't going to be around much anymore. Personally, for me, come on, Dallas. You're America's team. Maybe we should choose another team to be that way. Meanwhile, another NFL little notation. Guess what? My prediction previously that Washington may keep their name may be coming true. That's right. We'll just say it this way. Washington is in a bit of a transition period. It's working through It's working through the kinks with a new head coach, Ron Rivera. It doesn't have a quarterback it is sold on moving forward with, and it doesn't even have an official team moniker. Back in July, Washington announced it was retiring the Redskins name and logo following a thorough review, which was conducted in part due to outside pressure from major sponsors, including a major, huge name of the stadium, the folks at FedEx. While not many expected Washington to find a new name by the beginning of the 2020 regular season, you had to imagine that Washington would remain nameless for just a single season. However, in a recent interview with Washington team president Jason Wright, conducted by Scott Abram of 87 WJLA, Wright indicated that Washington may hold on to their name of the football team in 2021. Interesting. The franchise's moniker has been previously a controversial topic for years, with Native Americans petitioning the team to change it on multiple occasions. Dan Snyder, Washington's longtime owner, had long been resistant to changing the name, telling the folks at USA Today in 2013 that he will never change the name. It's that simple. Never! And you can use caps. Now that they have entered this transition period, Wright and Washington clearly want to take their time before officially rebranding. And I don't blame them. Said Wright, everybody needs to take a deep breath. It's not coming tomorrow. It's a business decision. We need to understand that market. More importantly, it's important to engage the community and the fans. We're also in the process of identifying the folks that should weigh in over time. We want this name and brand to represent the entire area, to represent the fan base, but to also attract new folks to this fan base. We want to grow this fan base as part of our new identity. Now, why don't you just call it the Washingtons? Instead of a generic name like the Washington football team, just call yourselves the Washingtons. It ain't bad. Or, yeah, could do that. But we'll just see what happens. Stay tuned, as they say. Our third NFL story, are you going to like this? They got embarrassed by the Detroit Lions. So what happens now? Well, Gardner Minshew's hot start for the Jags is a thing of the past. Now the Jaguars quarterback may be fighting for his job. Minshew, who statistically had better numbers than last year, struggled mightily during the Jaguars' embarrassment to the Detroit Lions on Sunday, and head coach Doug Marrone added some big-time pressure for his young quarterback. and not sitting Minshew if he struggles again. Now, Minshew leads the NFL in completions with 162, but the Jags have trailed by double digits the majority of the season, forcing the team to throw the ball. The Jaguars have lost 5 in a row as Minshew has 4 fumbles to go with his 5 interceptions. So says Michael DeRocco of ESPN, by 10 or more points. Minshew has completed 68% of his passes with 11 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. But the Jags are in the bottom 5 in points scored and bottom 10 in total yards. Jacksonville has averaged just 17 points over its last 4 contests, failing to score over 16 in 3 of the past 4 games. Now, if they were to bench Minshew, veteran Mike Glennon is listed on the depth chart as the number 2 QB. Things aren't that drastic in Jacksonville, but Marrone isn't afraid to pull the plug either. And it could be sooner than later if they happen to lose again this coming week. We shall find out what the decision is. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yazoo. Okay, another little news of notation. The baseball commissioner, Rob Manfred, must be enjoying his little comeback. But he's got a little session to do. Prior to Game 1, Commissioner wide range of topics. Now, this much is clear from the interview. Manfred and his bosses, the 30 owners, would love to keep an expanded postseason format and the extra inning tiebreaker rule continuing going forward. The MLB adopted those rule changes and others to make 2020 60-game regular season more feasible following the COVID-19 shutdown and during the pandemic. The expanded 16-team postseason format allowed the league to recoup lost revenue through extra playoff games, and the tiebreaker format helped avoid long games and reduce injuries. Now, here's what Manfred said about the expanded postseason format. Quote, I like the idea of, and I'm choosing my words carefully here, an expanded playoff format. I don't think we will do 16 like we did this year. I think we do have to be cognizant of making sure that we preserve the importance of our regular season. But I think something beyond the 10 that we were at would be a good change, end quote. Now, last season, word got out that Major League Baseball was pushing for a 14-team postseason, which number 1 seed in each league gets a bye to the League Division Series round. The other 6 teams play a best-of-3 wildcard series. The higher seeds will be able to pick their wildcard series opponents, adding to the intrigue. Now, owners have long wanted to expand the postseason because it equals more money. The players are not paid salaries during the postseason. They typically receive bonuses tied to gate revenue. Throughout, though this year they will split a $50 million pool given the lack of fans in attendance, so it's lots of revenue at a low cost. Now, it's important to note the Major League Baseball cannot unilaterally implement an expanded postseason format. The league needs the Players Association approval for that, and it's a significant bargaining chip for the union. Don't expect the players to give up easily. The Players Association will use the expanded postseason format to extract concessions from Major League Baseball, like higher minimum salary, earlier free agency, As for the extra inning tiebreaker run scoring and avoiding long extra inning games, again, from Manfred's own lips, quote, I think the players like it. I think it's really good from a safety and health perspective that keeps us from putting players in situations where they're out there too long or in positions they're not used to playing. End quote. Now, personally, I enjoyed the extra inning tiebreaker rule more than ever expected. It led to action, and there wasn't an overwhelming number of sacrifice bunts. Marathon games are more fun in theory than in reality. Now, it doesn't take much or long for an extra inning game to go from exciting to God, please end the misery. As with the expanded postseason, baseball and Manfred cannot unilaterally implement the extra inning tiebreaker. Again, they have to discuss that with the almighty Baseball Players Association. They got to agree. And here's what Tony Clark, union executive, told the AP regarding the potential rule changes. Quote, "We made a number of one-year changes this season under unique circumstances. We are gathering feedback from players and will bring that to the league at the appropriate time. Obviously, protecting health and safety will remain among several important considerations as those talks unfold," end quote. Now, it is no accident Clark's statement noted that these were one-year changes. The Baseball Players Association knows Major League Baseball is eager to implement these rule changes, and they plan to hold a firm line during negotiations. The current collective bargaining agreement expires in December of 2021. Though MLB and the Players Association may have to agree to modified rules for the 2021 season with the pandemic still ongoing. And going, and going, and going. So get ready for a long, cold winter. Again, that's right. Okay. Now, we all know that Miami made somewhat of a good move. And that is they named Tua Tagovailoa as a starter. That's right. Replacing Ryan Fitzpatrick. Now, anyone who remembers the Dolphins spent this year's 5th overall draft pick on Tagovailoa knows Tua was eventually going to take over, but the most pressing question in the surface from Miami's big move has been this: did Fitzpatrick deserve to be benched? The answer, no. Not necessarily, but it doesn't matter whatsoever because the Dolphins turned to Tua. It's absolutely the right move at this time. Fitzpatrick has been serviceable, if not better, as the Dolphins' top QB for a second straight year. Even as his trademark penchant for interceptions keep him among the league's boom or bust passers, the 37-year-old vet was completing passes at a career-high rate while remaining a deep ball threat, posting a 95.0 QB rating, good enough to best safer or more talented starters like old Lions Matthew Stafford, Teddy Bridgewater, Gardner Minshew, and even Kyler Murray. He was near perfect in a surprise rout the 49ers in Week 5, and his ageless persona is certainly part of the reason Miami is 3-3 and just behind the Bills in the AFC East. We don't know what Tagovailoa will be. He was a hotshot college football star. Yeah, that's right. But we yet to see him start in the NFL. And remember, the concerns with him aren't just whether he can adjust to the NFL, but whether he can hold up in it, having finished his time with Alabama on the sidelines. Why then are Dolphins justified in this manner? Well, number one, it's very unlikely that Tagovailoa's floor will be as low as that of Fitzpatrick. The latter has been playing well, of course, but we often shrug off rashes of turnovers in his good games because that's just what you get with Fitzpatrick. For example, in Miami's 24-0 shutout the Jets on Sunday, Fitz threw 3 scores, but he also passed for under 200 yards and threw 2 interceptions. Fitzpatrick's gung-ho style can be fun, but it also makes him prone to multiple INT games like every other week. And the Dolphins, well, they ain't going to be able to afford their QB turning the ball over 2, 3, 4, 5 times when it's December or January and the opponent is not the Jets. Now, that's certainly not to say Tua won't have bad games. He's a rookie, but when you're talking about the ceiling and floor of all starting QBs around the league, few people would deny that Fitzpatrick is as unpredictable as they come, and not only that, but when he does bottom out, he sinks the whole ship with him. Tagovailoa, on the other hand, has a ceiling that also makes him a more intriguing option for a team at a crossroads, crucially. A club finally within striking distance of the division lead. The 37-year-old Fitzgerald is no slouch on the ground, but the 22-year-old Tagovailoa His legs are an obvious upgrade. Throw the fact that he's been hailed for his smarts, instincts, pocket presence, and ability to limit turnovers. And you're talking about a potently perfect point guard for Army's defense. Now, there is a reasonable chance the Dolphins make this switch and then fail to catch the Bills. Does anyone actually believe Ryan Fitzpatrick was going to sustain his early play all the way up to and into the playoffs? Worst case scenario, the move to 2A doesn't ignite a 500 team, and Miami looks a lot like the Los Angeles Chargers. Exciting because the young gun running the offense, but no better in the standings as a result. Looking more short term, there isn't a better time for Miami to usher Tago Viola under center, considering the Dolphins are entering their Week 7 bye. Fitzpatrick has long proven to be capable and a willing mentor at the backup quarterback spot, and his literal applause for Tua upon the rookie's Week 6 debut suggests he's all about helping the Tua train get out of the station. So, will this decision be one that puts the Dolphins over the edge and into contention? Stay tuned, gentle readers, and you shall find out. Okay, get back with more headlines in a moment. I want to remind you that tonight, Nick Rekieta and Lost Blaming the Interwebs, they got a good show tonight. We can't tell you what it is, though, because, well, it has to deal with a woman that died twice and a few other little bon mots. So get ready for another interesting tour of the law. Lost Blaming the Interwebs with the humble Minnesota lawyer, Nick Rekieta, tonight, or in fact, right now, 14 minutes. In fact, it's been 14 minutes now. They're on the air. So join him on the Rekieta Law channel, only here on YouTube. And with that, we give you a little UEFA Champions League news and a stunner this afternoon as Manchester United did good. Would you like to hear? Yes, sir. 8 matches highlighted Tuesday's UEFA Champions League slate as the group stage got underway. Among the standout moments of those matches include Lionel Messi leading Barcelona to a dominant win over Ferencváros. Christian Pulisic picking up a knock during Chelsea's draw with Seville, and Lazio pulling up set against Borussia Dortmund. And let's not forget one other thing. The shock in Paris. You gotta love it. Let's take you to the Champions League scores. Let's do it this way. Club Brugge over Zenit 2-1. Juventus over Dynamo Kiev 2-0. Chelsea and Sevilla double knocked at 0. Rennes and Krasnodar tied at 1. Lazio over Borussia Dortmund 3-1. Barcelona over Ferencváros 5-1. Here's the upset: Manchester United over Paris Saint-Germain 2-1. And RB Leipzig over Istanbul. Not Constantinople, but Istanbul. Başakşehir 2-0. Ooh. Was that wild or was that wild? Yes. Okay, we continue on our merry little Jason Sanborn way of joy and happiness, otherwise known as Scoreboard. Let's get you with more headlines in the world of sports. And if everything is ready, we will do our special Tuesday night edition of the Monday Night Quarterback, where we give you all the scores and some of the matter, if we have that moment. But right now, we got some media bites for you, and you talk about some hardy-har ratings, we got them for you. The Alabama-Georgia game, this was good. You talk about college football bringing on some hot ratings. Alabama and Georgia, that was the best college football matchup. And what do you know? CBS, who aired it, had the best audience of the season by a large amount. Now, to the shock of no one, Saturday night's top 5 matchup between Alabama and Georgia on CBS drew the largest college football audience of the season by a humongous margin. The Crimson Tide's 41-24 victory over the Bulldogs drew 9.611 million viewers, far and away this season's most watched game. Now, for context, only one other game this year has even cracked the 5 million viewer mark a week earlier, and that was Texas and Georgia, also on CBS, 5.77 million viewers. Now, last season, only 5 games before championship week drew at least 9 million viewers. Notre Dame, Georgia on CBS, September 21st. LSU, Alabama on CBS, November 9th. Penn State, Ohio State on Fox, November 3rd. As usual, Ohio State, Michigan on Fox, November 30th. And the Iron Bowl on CBS, November 30th. Now, since the SEC returned to play at the end of September, the CBS game of the week has been the most watched game of each week. Fox's schedule has lagged without the Big Ten, as the only one game, the Red River Shootout from 2 weeks ago, drew at least 3 million viewers. While it's been much more of a mixed bag for ESPN's ACC-heavy schedule. The SEC games on cable are doing okay, but the ACC Big 12, they're struggling. As for NBC, they've only aired 3 Notre Dame games on broadcast, 1 on cable, and those 3 games have finished first, 6th, and 2nd on their respective weekends in viewership. Now, this seems like the weekend where we're going to see college football viewership start ticking up across the board, largely because the Big Ten is back. Ohio State hosts Nebraska on Fox in the noon window, and Minnesota hosts Michigan in prime time on ABC, with both games likely drawing strong audiences. In the afternoon, CBS is Alabama and Tennessee, another big game that should draw quite well. Fox will counter with Iowa State, Oklahoma State, the best of the Big 12 game of the day, while ABC has Notre Dame and Pitt. So get ready for some football, college football. Finally, we're all back together. And I can't wait for that Clemson game. I'm going to see if it's going to be done up for Facebook Live. That's going to be fun. Okay. Now, we all believe in second chances. Well, for Craig Carton, his second chance comes with a little golden ring, if you will. In a move that's been rumored for some time, former WFAN host Craig Carton is reportedly coming back. Now, according to a New York Post report from Andrew Marchand, Carton hasn't hosted a show since he was convicted for fraud in a ticket-buying scheme for which Carton served a little time in the big house. HBO recently released a documentary about Carson's legal travails. Oh, wow, boy, was that a wild case. And all signs have been pointing to a return to radio. Now, from the Post, Craig Carton is expected to sign a contract shortly that will bring him back to WFAN in Afternoon Drive, which is the primo slot for a sports radio host. At the moment, Evan Roberts is the leading candidate to be Canton's partner, according to sources. He's the only internal candidate FAN is considering. Carton and WFAN hope it's to begin his new program next month, according to sources. Now, one thing Carton won't be doing is reuniting with Boomer Esiason. Now, in the morning, FAN has not considered putting Carton back with Esiason. Esiason and Carton's replacement, Greg Giannotti, have continued to be atop the ratings and just extended their CBS Sports Network TV deal as well. Now, in the afternoons, Carton and Fan know they'll have to manage Carton's admitted gambling addiction against the constant advertisements for betting sites. But whomever FAN chooses as his partner, the program will revolve around Carton. After you're in prison in 3 years, he's back. Now, the optics of putting a gambling addict in a position to have to read ads for sports betting companies or even just adjacent to those ads is an odd one. Then again, if you're putting Craig Carton back on the air after he was convicted for fraud, you're probably not all that concerned about optics to begin with, or what the audience may think. Marchand reports that Carton will sign his deal within a day, though, so his on-air return could be very shortly. Let's just hope he learned his lesson and won't do anything to embarrass himself. Yeah, I know. Crickets. 23 minutes past the hour of midnight. We're up on the usual stuff of fun, thrills, action, and excitement. And we're glad you're here with us. Let's take you on a little trip because I know everybody wants to know the ratings for Raw. And did they finally break the jinx? Did they finally give Mr. McMahon a reason to smile? Did they? Did they? Well, we'll tell you in a little bit. We got more little newsy coos. An exclusive from WrestlingInc.com. An Impact Wrestling star, Wrestling Inc. was told Daga has requested his release some time ago, but Impact had held off on granting it, while also attempting to get him to re-sign. Impact officially granted Daga his release today. He made his debut with the company on February 1st, episode of Impact. His debut match featured him tagging with Santana and Ortiz in a losing effort to the Lucha Brothers and Ray Horace. Drago was also featured in Team Lucha Underground versus Team Impact match in United We Stand that same year during his run in Lucha Underground. He was seen as part of Cobra Moon's reptile tribe. That is wonderful, isn't it not? Yes, it is. So now, where will he go now? There are reports that he might be signing with AEW, but, well, we'll just have to see about that. Now, as for the ratings, let's get to those ratings right now. I know we're trying not to get dead air, but here we go. And once again, even in a go-home situation before Hell in a Cell, WWE Raw has got problems. Oh boy, the losing streak continues. Go-home edition of the show prior to Hell in a Cell continued the downflow in the ratings. According to Showbuzz Daily, Raw averaged 1.777 million viewers during its 3-hour broadcast on USA, which was down from last week's 1.855 million. Monday's episode of Raw was the first since the Raw and SmackDown rosters were shaken up via the WWE draft, which, as you know, doesn't take long for things to be reshaken up. And there was, of course, no shortage of new faces on the Red brand this week. Raw opened with The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, and Alexa Bliss appearing for the first time on Monday night. They were interrupted by Retribution, but before the group could attack, the lights went out and they disappeared. That led to a match between Retribution and the Hurt Business, which the latter won after Bobby Lashley made T-Bar tap to the full Nelson. Wyatt then reemerged after the match and took out all of Retribution on his own. Yep. How quickly they used to be. Retribution was the top dogs. And a sort of, I guess you could say, low-budget ripoff of Nexus. Remember that little bit where a clique would try to take over the WWE? Well, Retribution is now literally being buried. We knew them well. Later in the show, Mustafa Ali revealed he was a mystery hacker on SmackDown several months ago. Duh. Ali said he used that ability and knowledge to form Retribution and wreak havoc on WWE. Now, personally, the WWE is wrecking Retribution. And the main event segment of Raw was a promo by Randy Orton inside Hell in a Cell prior to his championship match against Drew McIntyre at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view Sunday. It was rather, lackluster, boring, is in trouble. They need something to save themselves. Otherwise, the last time we saw the ratings fall for Raw, NBC Universal decided to cut their losses and give Vince McMahon the walking papers, and they went to Spike TV. We all know now how that felt, don't we? Mm-hmm. Not exactly good news. Okay. Well, WWE may now be racing against time in another bit of organized chaos. The Orange County, Florida Department of Health is currently investigating several WWE venues as potential locations where COVID-19 might be spreading. The WWE NXT Arena on the campus of Full Sail University, the WWE Performance Center, and the Amway Arena are included on a list of 17 businesses that the county health department has asked the strike team to look into as potential locations where the coronavirus might be spreading. Now, that is according to WFTV in Orlando. The health department said local bars seem to be the biggest issue right now, and they are investigating 8 of those locations as potential spreader locations. Health Officer Dr. Raul Pino noted that people in their late teens and early 20s are gathering to cheer on college teams or their favorite NFL team, and the virus is spreading. Pino sent a list of bars to Orange County strike team for further investigation, adding that people who have tested positive for COVID-19 are saying these locations more than others as places where they might have been infected. Again, here are the following locations: WWE NXT Arena on the campus of Full Sail, the WWE Performance Center on Forsyth Commerce Road, the WWE Thunderdome at the Amway Center, Jesus School, Judea Church, Amazon Distribution Center, Boggy Creek, Plaza on University Apartments, Crunch Fitness on Colonial Drive, and Crunch Fitness on Hoffner Avenue. Starbound Performers, Treehouse Bar, Basement Bar, The Office Bar, Glit Bar, Knights Pub Bar, Knights Library Bar, Saddle Up Bar, and Attic Bar. WWE spokesman issued the following statement in response to the investigation. WWE is not open to the public, but rather operating on a closed set with only essential personnel in attendance. As part of ongoing weekly testing protocols, Aventis Labs has administered more than 10,000 PCR tests to WWE performers, employees, production staff, and crew, resulting in only 1.5 or 1.5% positive cases as compared to the current national average of more than 5%. Additionally, extensive contact tracing takes place, and impacted individuals are placed in a 14-day quarantine and then only cleared after they test negative. So, there you go, guys and dolls. A little fun goes a long way. Yes, it does. Speaking of going a long way, we got about 13 minutes before we say our bye-byes. So right now, it's time for us to go wild, to go crazy, and hit the highs and not the lows. That's right. It's time to say hi-lo. And let's do it with properness. Shouts we shall. And sorry we're having a slow time here, but apparently things are slow on AT&T and TNT. Oh, so now Facebook is not talking to me. That is fun. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Okay, Sarah Fidel, Brenda Dixon, Kimberly Wells, Michael Pickrell, how you doing? Hope everything is well. Itan G, the Jewish rapper, Mazel, how you doing? We also say hi to Angela Peterson, Christina Peterson, Amory Man, Yuki Tanaka, Jay the Brain Man, Matthew Nichols, Jerry Nichols, Nancy Nichols, Crystal Hart, Brutal Metzler, Vanessa Elise Messenger, Cassie Little, Helena Kirby, Amari Woods, Rannon Johnson, Yvonne Marie. How you doing? Jacqueline Fleming, Sarah Chavez, Sammy Phillips, Samantha O'Neill, Casey Ann, Monica Cram, Mike Polta Jr., Jay the Brain Man, Amy Hayes, Frida Hayes, Morris Hayes, Stacy Hayes. Hubley. You gotta know we're doing our best here. That's right. We'll try our best to fulfill everything. Let's see who else. Jeff, Jeff Rollo, Marley Wiley, George Templeton, Sharon Baxley, Dale Sandkey, of course, Blind Lemon, Nellie Canine, Mrs. Nellie Canine, Tony Pickrell, Michael Pickrell, Ricky Pickrell, and geez, nice. Okay, we have a stuck situation here. Okay, well, we'll try to unstick it. And in the meantime, in the in-between time, as the safety cat Uno wields his magic and feasts upon some cat food, we say hello to Audrey Dogren, Alex Sims, Nick Mantis, all the gang at TV6, Dominique Keith, Melissa Wilson, Dr. Jim, and Tom Ziska and the gang over at Fox 26. We say a good time and a howdy hi to Mandy Summers, Wyatt Holiday, of course, the king of artists, Mr. Magic himself. That is, of course, Mr. Peter Gilmore, Peter Wada, Louisa Fernanda, Casey Lennox, Mandy Summers, Ivy McKellen, Lena Gwynn, Mia St. John. Let's see who else. We got Brad Shepard, Howdy Hi, Lydia Cornell, Ryan Satin, Karen Drew, Eric Kostra. Hi. All my friends on the lovely little good ship that we like to call Twitter. And on the way up, if you're ready, and I know you is, here we go. We go now to the gram, and then we'll hit the scoreboard. And that'll mean we will indeed be off at 12:50. Yahoo! So here we go. Courtney Lynn Elwood, how's it going? We also say a big ol' hi doing to Dorothy Malone, to Claudia Treos, Kimberly Wells, Silver Harpetian, Marielle Liu from Fox 2, Tori Cooper, and some very nice people, January J. Keaton, and Jesse Lee Wong, Portia Coleman, Ava Fiore, and a cast of thousands, Monica Cram, Gary Cram, of course. So there you go. We say, hi, how are you? A welcome. Not bad. And of course, Linda Steele and Francia Jones. And that is our Heidi Hoes and hellos to all of you today and for this week. And it is sad to note, and we were going to bring this up yesterday, but things were getting good. It is sad to note that for the first time ever in a long time, the Charlie Brown holiday specials will not be on network television this season or beyond that. For those of you that have not yet heard, the Charlie Brown specials like It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, Happy Thanksgiving, Charlie Brown, a Charlie Brown Christmas, and a few other Charlie Brown specials are leaving network television and going to Apple TV, a streaming service from, of course, the fine folks at Apple. Now, what does this mean? Well, this means you're just going to get Frosty the Snowman and all the Rudolph specials. Now, if CBS loses the rights to the Rudolph specials and to the Frosty specials to a streaming service not their own, everybody's saying, what's going to happen? Well, simple. The day that happens will be the day CBS decides to say bye-bye to their iconic symbol of excellence, love, and happiness throughout the ratings and throughout television and radio. The famed CBSI will be dropped. And that, you can say, that tain't ever gonna happen. You can bet your bottom dollar on that. Because while Rudolph and Frosty are icons on CBS, that eye just celebrated its 70th anniversary. Hi, Kiba. And unlike NBC, which dropped its symbol in the early 80s, or late 70s, early 80s, big mistake there, about maybe $5 million mistake. Just ask the folks at Nebraska Educational Television Network. So they brought the peacock back with 12 feathers and now 6 feathers. So there you go. Icons. They got to stick around, kids. Anyway, we've done that. Now you know what that means. Little light commentary. That means one thing. It's time to bring you another iconic treat. It's time to go for the scoreboard. That's right. So let's giddy up.
See the white stuff?
Oh jeez.
See who it is.
I'm live.
Huh?
Who's out there?
I have to get up and see what it is.
Excuse me, folks. We may have an intruder. I will return shortly so we can get the scoreboard done. Hello? Hello?
Is anybody down there?
Down where?
Go down the steps and look at by the windows.
I'm not sure. I think you're nuts.
Are you seeing it too?
Ain't nobody out there.
Okay, well lock your screen.
I have.
I wonder where the reflection's coming from.
Probably from the house. Anyway, I gotta conclude. Okay, thank you.
I have this.
We're not done yet. Just hang on. I've got about 7 minutes of airtime left. Okay, let's make this quick. In the Champions League, as we told you, Juventus over Dynamite Kiev 2-0. Club Brugge defeated Zenit 2-1. Barcelona over Ferencváros 5-1. Chelsea and Seville ended in a 0-0 tie. Lazio over Dortmund 3-1. Manchester United played it big and defeated and upset Paris Saint-Germain. RB Leipzig over Başakşehir 2-0, and Rennes and Krasnodar ended in a 1-1 tie. In European basketball was Partizan over Başakşehir 82-76. Levolos over Morabar 78-65. Trento over Cedevita Limpija 61-51. Juventud Badalona over Valencia 92-78. In Spanish basketball was Barcelona over Gipuzkoa 87-60. Real Madrid over Obradoiro CAB 84-77. Swedish hockey. Frölunda over Malmo 6-2. And Leksands over Djurgårdens 3-2. Finnish hockey, Isles over Turkur 4-1. In Japanese baseball, the Chunichi Dragons defeated the Yokohama Bay Stars 6-1, 6-14-1 for the Dragons, 1-3-0 for the Bay Stars. Fukutani got the win. He's 7-2. Onuki got the loss. He's 9-5. What a way to make a living. Hiroshima Carp over the Hanshin Tigers 5-1, 5-6-1 for the Carp, 1-4-1 for the Tigers. Garcia for the Hanshin Tigers got the loss. He's 2-6. Curry got the win. He's 7-5. The Fukuoka Silverhawks over the Nippon Ham Fighters 11-2, 11-16-0 for the Hawks, 2-4-0 for the Fighters. Uwasawa got the loss for the Ham Fighters. He's 8-6. Kasaya got the win. He's 4-3. The Rakuten Golden Eagles and the Oric Buffaloes went to extras and still couldn't decide a winner, so it ended in a 2-2 tie. 2-6-0 for the Eagles, 2-9-0 for the Buffaloes. No winner, no loser. We continue. Cebu Lions over the Chibalati Marines 2-1, 2-6-1 for the Lions, 1-4-3 for the Marines. Masuda got the win for the Lions. He's 4-0. Masuda. Yeah, two Masudas. Masuda T got the win. He's 4-0. Masuda N got the loss. He's 3-0. And another one bit the old Washungi as the Yakut Swallows and the Omori Giants also went extras and also didn't get a decision. 1-1 was the tie. 1-6-0 for the Swallows, 1-5-0 for the Yomiuri Giants. In South Korea, the Korea Baseball Organization, NC Dinos, mollywhopped the Kia Tigers 13-3, 13-18-1 for the Dinos, 3-8-2 for Los Tigres. The LG Twins over the KT Wiz Swan, 7-6, 7-7-0 for the Twins, 6-14-3 for the Swan. Doosan Bears, a 6-1 winner over the Lottie Giants, 6-11-0 for the Bears, 1-5-1 for the Giants. And the Samsung Lions did a little mollywhopping of their own, beating the SK Wyverns 12-2, 12-16-0 for the Lions, 2-6-0 for the Wyverns. Tomorrow is Wednesday, and that means we have AEW, All Elite Wrestling Dynamite, 8 o'clock on TNT with a very strange, it's a very strange episode. Why? Because along with the wrestling, we will have the dinner between Chris Jericho of the Inner Circle and MJF. Something tells me there may be a hostile takeover, a brewing with MJF. I wouldn't trust him, Chris. You know why. Anyway, that, my friends, means we have run out of time, and we want to thank you all very much for being with us. Game number 2 of the World Series is also tomorrow night. We'll have the pictures and all that for you on the promo, and of course, we'll bring you all the action, all the game, all the reviews of Game 2 where Tampa Bay has to win to make a split. Now, we do not know if there were any stolen bases in the game. If there were, Taco Bell, everybody gets a free Locos Taco at your local Taco Bell. And if you're like people in California or Miami or New York, there's going to be a lot of Taco Bells you can visit. That's going to be fun. Okay, until we meet again tomorrow night, I am Steve the Baxman Baxley saying, as always, may your favorite team always be a winner. And from all of us here at Steve Baxley Sports Final, thank you for tuning in. For all of us here at L2C Sports, good night. Good night, America. Wherever and whomever you may be, we'll talk to you tomorrow night right after Game 2 of the World Series. Till then, have a good night and blessings.